tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello and welcome to Season 2 of the Galavant After Show, and it's Rainin' Men, because that's exactly what this song reminds me of. Yes. I am your host, Jacque Borowski. We have some new hosts with us. We have Blake from last season.
I'm back.
Hi. Where can the people find you, Blake?
People can find me at Blake McIver on Twitter and Instagram.
And then we have Michelle, who's one of our new hosts.
Hello, everyone. You can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen.
And Susannah.
Hello, you guys. You can find me on Twitter at Susannah_Kim and on Instagram at Susannah Kim.
You can find me on my website, 123jackieb.com. That's where my Twitter and Instagram are. My Twitter is at 123jackie_V. And if you want to talk to us about this show, it's hashtag ABTVGalavant. Unfortunately, I get too easily distracted, so I cannot tweet and do this show at the same time. So I will talk to you either before or after. So this season, let's just have some initial thoughts. I'm going to say these are my two favorite episodes out of all of the Galavant episodes I've seen. The music is even catchier than before. I do miss the kind of like da-da-da-da-da-da, oh yes, we're back again for Galavant. I do miss that a little bit, but what are your thoughts? Let's start with Michelle.
I loved these two episodes. I love how comfortable they are at poking fun, if you will, at last season and the things going on and how they also thought they might not be renewed, but here they are, and I am very excited, and the songs were really, really catchy.
Really catchy.
Yeah.
I mean, last season, I felt like the songs were used more for the purpose of telling the story, and I feel like this season, at least, the songs that I've heard so far, they're more like easy download bait for people who haven't even seen the episodes.
Oh yeah, they're standalone songs. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't even matter, which is hilarious. I mean, they're clearly not afraid to take any risk now on this show. It's like, we got the renewal, so we will do anything, and you'll just have to deal with it. And I love it. The whole new tone is amazing.
It is.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love this. The first two episodes of the season, I think, were better than the whole first season. I would go out and say that. I loved all the music. Like you guys said, it was more like lively, and I felt like it was a little more modern too. Like they had more references to, pop culture, and I thought that was
They
fun.
had 4 Game of Thrones references. If you counted more,
wow.
let me know.
Right.
Wow.
I read an article that pointed out more references than I had noticed, so I went back and I was like, this is it. I'm going to find them all. Yeah, I think there were 4. But the first episode is called, it's Suck It, Cancellation Bear. It was...
a new season,
aka Suck It, Cancellation Bear. I'm sorry, I use
Suck
notes.
it.
For those of you who know me, I'm not ashamed that I use notes. Cancellation Bear is a real thing. It's if you go to the TV by the Numbers website, they have like a little bear, and they call it the Cancellation Bear, and they use it to determine whether or not episodes or seasons will be renewed. And Galavant was put under the Cancellation Bear as definitely not being renewed. So that's why this episode is called AKA Suck It, Cancellation Bear.
And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's just a little insider knowledge for people like us who are really into television, who go to those sites all the time. We look at the Cancellation Bear, and it sometimes is wrong, which is awesome, because I would be sad if this show hadn't been renewed. So we start off with the most epic bromance of all bromances, Galavant and Richard, which I'm super excited about, and I kept trying to think of a bromance name for them. Gitchard was the best thing I could come up with, but does anybody have anything?
I mean, Richavant.
Richavant.
I really like that.
Yeah.
That's so much better. It's so much. It's
regal.
It is very regal. It's very regal.
I like it.
So they, we left off in the last episode where they were on this boat and they were headed to, well, just away from
Everything.
From everything.
Just going.
So now they're on a boat with the pirates, and we get this great number where Richard asked Galavant to sing the theme song, and the pirates are like, no.
Right.
We had people literally kill themselves.
Which I love that this is like an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
We're to believe that they've been on this boat for months, and
Yeah,
he's been
right.
singing his own theme song.
Just we had 4 people walk off the plank. Just
Right.
Right into the ocean. Could you not?
Just waiting for those season 2 cameras to roll.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
anytime y'all want to start.
Go.
So they have a new song that sings about how they were almost canceled and how and gives you a little bit of information on the new season. And then Richard tells them that he knows exactly where they should take the boat because he's from here, and of course he knows where to go.
Great with directions.
Great, he's super. This guy Timothy, what's his Omundson?
I
Omundson.
love him.
He
Fantastic.
is just fantastic.
Hilarious.
He has great comedic timing. And it's great to pair him with somebody like Galavant, who is just the straight man to his goofy guy.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they get shipwrecked on the shore, and they end up in a forest area, which then Richard explains, oh no, I think we're in the Enchanted Forest,
Uh-oh.
where his Uncle Keith went and never returned. And
Never
it
came out.
never came out.
Never came out.
Never came
Never
out.
came out.
That's right.
So
And
it happens.
And it
It
turns
does.
out his Uncle Keith was his dad's like best friend / fishing buddy,
Camping buddy.
or camping buddy.
Camping, fishing,
Overnight
those things.
stays in the forest.
You know,
Things.
Obviously.
They do foresty things.
you know, outdoorsy men.
I do like that the Enchanted Forest had a little like rainbow on it, so
Yes, it
you
did.
got
Sweet.
you got the
With
idea.
happy hour hours posted
Right.
on the tree. I was like,
That's important.
they
That is
know. They
important.
get it.
They
They
know.
get it.
And they go in there, and it's all men. And we get my favorite number out of all of them, which is Kylie Minogue singing the "It's Raining Men" kind of rip off, take off his shirt, off the shirt. Comments, thoughts?
I mean, first
So
of all,
far.
there's a gay bar in the middle of the forest called the Enchanted Forest. It's just sort of
they
the
have
greatest
to have a place
thing.
for bears.
Absolutely.
They do.
And this was not the cancellation bear. The bear in
No.
the actual bear in the bar was
Yes.
a bear.
The bear.
I mean, everything about this was hysterical and perfect and completely accurate
It was.
from experience.
Awesome. When they first went in, I thought it was like Robin Hood and his merry men. I was like,
Oh, they're merry,
okay.
all right.
Right, yeah.
They also call each other Mary.
I enjoyed it so much, and I enjoyed how blissfully unaware King Richard was of
Yes.
the surroundings
Yes.
throughout the entire thing. I was just like, oh, honey.
He's like, lift me up too.
I want to
I want to be lifted.
So
He's
funny.
just so jolly and happy and ignorant and funny.
I love this because I love that I watch another ABC show, Once Upon a Time, which I don't know if you guys watch it or not, but it's obviously like ABC's runaway hit.
Yep.
Has been for years, and they have struggled with they had Mulan as a gay character, and then they got backlash from the network, not the writers, but the network gave them backlash. And so it's so interesting watching it as a Once Upon a Time fan, where you're like, ABC, you
Hello.
just had a room with a gay bar, and then you have like these not at all veiled references. Whereas on Once Upon a Time, I feel like any gay references they are having now this season, where they're kind of experimenting a little bit, it's still super, super veiled. And
Yeah, it's reserved for sure.
It's really reserved, and you're thinking, okay, you're okay with this, but you're not okay with that.
Yeah, it is weird. You know, the same network that you have Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder, which like is
Right,
more
right.
gay than straight now
Right.
at this point.
Like you just said.
It's just,
But
you
hey, we
see-
got a big Kylie Minogue number out
yes,
of it,
yes.
so
Yeah,
we win.
By the way, I was I was looking up Joshua Sasse's Instagram before, and I swear it looks like they're dating. He and Kylie Minogue. I'm pretty sure they're together.
That's a cute couple.
Cute couple.
like,
I love
okay.
that.
Okay.
That's
Alright.
awesome. She's personally saying off with her shirt.
Good for both of them. Yeah, right.
Just win-win.
So we have Isabella still stuck in the room, potentially going to be marrying her 11-year-old cousin. She does sing about how she doesn't actually need to be liberated by Galavant because she's a feminist. But it's interesting because there were some fans that were still bugged by the fact that she still is waiting for him, because everybody, I guess, last season thought of Isabella as a more progressive character. And I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I disagree because, I mean, it's her she makes it very clear, even in the tongue-in-cheek way. Like, no, it's my choice. I choose to wait for him. I want to wait for him. I don't need to wait for I don't need him. I want him.
Right.
I think love is weird. Like, love makes you do things, and you're willing to kind of put aside what you always thought you knew to be true and be like, well, maybe this wouldn't be so bad, so it'd be nice to have a partner in this, and I'm just going to hang out till he gets here.
And I wonder if this is the only man she's ever kissed, because we have to think that this is like medieval times, and she's a princess.
And considering the level of incest in her family,
I mean,
I would hope so, actually.
I mean, I'm thinking you should just stay put where you are, because that's where he knows where you are. Where are you going to go, really, girl?
Why are you running
Are
away?
you going to go find him? You're going to call up him on his phone? Like, I think you're best off just staying there.
The amulet that she wears all the time, but the chef is like,
we've never seen it.
Never seen this
Never seen
amulet
it
before.
We invested a lot in that Jewel of Valencia,
Yes,
though.
we did.
We invested a lot of emotion into that, but no amulet.
Yes. Which I love this sight gag, because it's like hilariously large, and everyone's like, what? And then, of course, Galavant's like, yeah, she wears it all the time.
It's like that moment when a girl's like, oh, like they just got something new. Oh, this old thing?
Mm-hmm.
I've had this forever.
Just always.
They're like, I'm pretty sure you just got that.
So she enlists the help of the chef and the girl who I keep calling Daisy, because that's her name.
Well, 'cause that's,
Gwen. It's Gwen. It's Gwen.
Oh.
I keep writing her in my notes as Daisy.
Yeah,
because she's Daisy.
Obviously.
She's Daisy from now my brain is like falling out of my ears. She's Daisy from Downton Abbey. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's late at night here. Not that late. I don't know what I'm thinking. So, and then we have Madalena now with the guy who was with the guy who, I mean, Gareth.
That was, yes.
The guy who was with the guy who, I love that title joke as well, because he didn't have an official title.
Right, Your Highness, your guy that was with the king that was with the...
You were around when she stabbed the king-ish person that was kind of trying to take over, but he was really old and just not feeling it.
So they Gareth asks Sid to help him read, because he asks Sid to read for him, I should say. He doesn't want to learn how to read, because reading's for people who
Can't understand
Pictures.
Yeah,
clearly.
So they give him the title king, but of course it's introduced as the queen first and then the king. And then they have, now it's funny because now the episodes are blending together, because they have that fight in the next episode.
Yes.
So we can go into the next episode. In the next episode, they have this fight over
a beautiful portrait.
of his mom.
Just lovely.
Dogs jousting.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's funny because it's a natural couples fight. It's like, I want to put my stuff out in here. No, your stuff is terrible. I want to have this here. And so they just start throwing their stuff, quote unquote, out on the lawn, which is actually in the moat, which the moat is their toilet, apparently.
Yep.
Loved it.
And then they have that musical number that's actually now also one of my favorite musical numbers, where
That
he's
was
just
my
like,
favorite.
beer.
Beer. I like this. I like that. I like beer. It was great.
Beer.
That was my
was
favorite
just
number. I thought that was hilarious.
Straightforward to the point.
I
to his
actually
heart.
really like them together too. I think the pairings in these episodes have really helped people a lot. I think the Galavant Richard pairing is great. I think her pairing with him, because they're both such caricatures that they have this great, like, she has this great, like, Cruella de Vil kind of personality, and he has this, like, Troll King personality.
Totally.
Yes.
It also was really exciting because, like, with this new storyline, we've got 3 very specific and different locations, so it inherently makes it feel more epic as opposed to the first season where we were just in the one kingdom with the one conflict.
Right.
Yes.
If you check out my Twitter, I retweeted a map that one of the writers posted of the different
Nice.
lands,
Okay.
so you can see where everything is. It's interesting because when the pirates come over on the boat, I just assumed it was a totally separate place, but apparently they were only crossing like a body of water to another section of the same land.
Of course they are.
So months. Yeah.
How appropriate.
So they've just been going around this like lake for a while.
It
those
takes place
poor
at
people.
Disneyland. It's basically, you're going from Frontierland to Adventureland.
It's funny that you say that because when you look at the map, it is kind of like that, where there's like a moat in the center. You
The
know?
hub and spoke thing.
Yeah.
It's a very Disney thing.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So there in the pictures you have the 2 lands, which are Valencia and Hortensia. Or-
Yes.
Yes. And then you have where Richard's from. And then you have Xanax, which was that place that they went last
yeah.
season.
My favorite land.
Yes. Everyone's favorite land. And it's funny because one of the Game of Thrones references is that she wants to rule all the 7 kingdoms. So
Yeah.
in this area are the 7
7.
different kingdoms. And I guess we learn from that Brady Bunch number where they're giving us kind of like Sid gives us a preview that you're going to have at least the 3 kingdoms, where's Richard's kingdom, Valencia, and Hortensia?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't have time to look through my notes. But you're going to have a battle between all of those, and so to see who is the quote-unquote one true king. Which right now, Richard has the sword.
He's got
of
the sword.
He pulled the sword
of
from the
one true
stump.
king.
The sword in the stump.
Dawnbreaker.
It was so-
That was how it was really written.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or Mr. Stabby.
And we know he's like a 40-year-old virgin because the unicorn is from.
And unicorns don't lie. If we know
Unicorns don't
one
lie.
thing for sure.
They're drawn to children and those pure of body.
Yeah.
Just, oh.
I like when
I
he
loved
threatens
it.
to make it a nunicorn.
I loved it first when he had that pure joy of seeing the unicorn. He was like, yes! And then they're like, you're a virgin. And he's like, no.
Get away.
Now I've actually been with a lot of people. Just,
So then after that scene, they go to visit Edwin the Magnificent, who...
Yes.
The actor is Simon Callow.
Simon Callow, who's an amazing from Shakespeare in Love.
Yes.
Probably
Oh,
most
yes.
notably.
Amadeus. For Weddings and a Funeral.
Yeah.
Like, tons of other stuff. So he uses one of those paper fortune things that you used in
that
like
made me laugh
killed me.
so hard.
Me too. Out loud. I was busting up.
I lost it. It was
It
like
suddenly became a junior high, like,
Yes.
do you like me, yes or no?
Yeah, it took me
Yes.
back. It felt so good.
It did feel good.
Thank you, ABC, for that throwback.
Yes,
to you.
yes.
It was awesome.
yes.
It was awesome.
When you got to blue, B-L, I was dying.
Yes.
But he gets interrupted because he gets the call from his wife, who's asking him to like pick up the kids.
Amazing.
And I like that moment where he's like, "Well, I wish I wouldn't have gotten this thing that can connect you to people in faraway lands." And then they're all like, "Okay."
Give me your cell phone.
Right? Which, watching this, I've, not to knock on the app Blab, but to knock on the internet at my parents' house. I tried to do a Blab with a couple people while I was at my parents' house, and it was exactly like that. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, no.
And I'm like, we've all had those moments.
Oh, yes.
We've all had those moments. So they call Isabella's amulet. Luckily, she has it. She has something that
She's
they can
had it the
call.
whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All this time.
Yeah, it's so convenient. So they call her amulet, and the chef and Gwen answer and say that she's not there right now.
Oh, I love them so much.
I know.
I just love them.
They're so hilarious.
So funny.
They're beautiful.
I have to tell you, my funniest moment, the moment that I just rewound and had to keep watching, was when the chef is standing in her room, and she's like, okay, I'm going to give you the amulet. And she falls asleep, and he's still standing there, and he's like, you never gave me the amulet.
And the face he makes.
Yeah,
That
just that guy is just, he's comedic gold.
Yeah.
was really good.
That was a
good.
beautiful scene. I agree with that completely.
It was amazing.
And it's those moments that make this show so wonderful that everyone should watch.
Yeah.
Yes, and the ratings are down from last season, so please tune in because we don't want them to actually succumb to the cancellation.
No, we have to fight the cancellation bear.
Yes.
And we
Even
don't
with
know
our
it.
bare hands.
Yeah, exactly. With the bear guy from the Enchanted Forest.
I trust the bear at the Enchanted Forest. I really do.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need as many people as we can get.
It's true. And we don't know how much ABC, how much longer ABC is willing to like throw us bones to give us more seasons of Galavant.
Right.
We established with the chef and Gwen that there's like a bad connection going on. Eventually they do get Isabella, and Isabella becomes a victim of the bad connection and thinks that he's telling her to marry her cousin and that she's gross. And
Die.
Yeah.
Yes. Die.
Disgusting cow.
Yeah, die, disgusting cow.
Oh.
And then I think this was, when I was reading other articles, this was the moment that people were upset because Isabella just kind of, instead of saying, okay, no, I'm still going to escape, I'm still going to get rid of my cousin, she kind of succumbs to defeat. And
Walks back to her room.
And she goes back to her prison, basically, because
She keeps the key, though.
that's true. She does keep the key.
She keeps her exit
She
clause.
does keep the key. So hopefully in the next couple of episodes we'll see Isabella come up with some plan or do something and not just be sad and moping and waiting for Galavant. Although I like this combination of I feel like there's a little flirtation happening with Isabella and the Jester.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I want that so bad.
Yeah,
I
be
love
so
the
great.
Jester.
I would love for Galavant to come back and he just loses Isabella to the Jester.
She's like, I'm sorry.
She's like, actually, I'm gonna go with the
Yeah.
laughter.
Yes.
Just
like
like
Madalena.
he lost Madalena.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jester's getting into drama now. He could write the next great tragedy that, you
I'm all
know.
about it.
True.
Yep.
It's
I will be
true.
there.
He just has to
will
work on
watch
his dramatic silences.
That needs
Yes.
help.
Right.
That needs a lot of help.
No fart noises,
funny.
just dramatic silences. But it shows, if you have her getting with the Jester, it just shows the problem that distance has in relationships.
Long distance seldom works.
And she broke her amulet at the end, so how are they going to talk to each other?
I mean,
I have to say, though, after last season being so invested in the other jewel, I was so upset that she broke the amulet. I was like, that is supposed to be the MacGuffin for the entire season, and you ruined it.
I just thinking about it now, it's like it brings a whole new level to the meaning of slamming the phone.
Yeah.
That's the only
Yes.
communication tool.
Yeah.
And you just made it shatter
shattering.
Yeah.
with rage.
You can't fix that at the iPhone screen repair.
Right, yeah.
Not even ye old iPhone
No
screen
insurance
repair.
for an amulet.
Although that would be a really great thing to just have thrown in.
Amulet repair shop.
I need you to fix this. Well, we have an upgraded version, which you really interested.
You can have the amulet 5S.
It's really nice.
I do like the amulet.
Calls aren't compatible with that version anymore. I'm so sorry.
It comes preloaded
was your
with some
issue.
different realms that you can't get rid of. That's fine.
So in the end, I mean, we discussed Madalena and Gareth a bit, and Gareth has made Sid his assistant, and they toss him out the window. Hopefully he's still alive, I assume,
Right.
that he can swim and whatnot.
In the poopy moat.
In the poopy mouth. Because I love
I
Sid.
consider that.
Sid's amazing. No, he's gonna live because he already teased us in that moment about
That's
like
true.
his belting high G's.
did.
I was
That's
like, I
true.
see you, Sid.
That's
I see
true.
you.
I
Right.
see you.
When you call your notes, that's confident, right?
That's right.
And he hasn't really sang yet, so
True, yeah.
we're
we
just
didn't get
waiting
too
for
much.
it.
Maybe
We can't.
they-
No, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say maybe they threw out a chair that we just didn't see, and he like landed in it, and he's just rocking.
He's just sitting there.
Just chilling.
Oh, like Winnie the Pooh in that, that
Moat
water
boat.
scene.
Exactly.
Yeah. My shoe just fell off. Sorry about that. Then we have, in the end, Galavant and Richard go up to what is supposed to be Richard's castle, but it's completely missing. So they have a new quest, which is this actually. I said this a lot last season, but one of my favorite movies as a youngin was Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh yes.
And this was
Yes,
such a Men in
yes.
Tights moment when they repoed the castle. Yep. And I was like, they repoed his
They
castle.
did. They did. I'm just sad we missed the scene where they actually like repo.
Yes.
It was just like, was that an above ground dungeon?
I mean, that's a bad foundation if it's just an outline
It
on
was
the
right
floor.
there.
Exactly.
Like an above ground pool.
Right, just-
It comes with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like it was just abducted by aliens. I was like, oh, they just lifted that right up. The grass grew back in the middle.
I mean,
So
hilarious.
the new mystery is going to be, where did that go? Where did that go? So, final thoughts. Favorite musical number?
Mine was Agree to Disagree. So the Madalena and Gareth
The
one.
Madalena
That
and
was
Gareth
I just
one.
thought it was hilarious. So funny.
Mine was the off with his shirt.
Yeah, same.
Mine was also off with his shirt. And I also just want to draw out a shout out to John Stamos for
Oh,
being
yeah,
the
yes.
Enchanted Forest.
Yes.
John Hamm.
In a
Don't tell my
terrible green screen shot that was clearly shot in a different planet as the rest of the show.
Yeah.
But good for John, he showed up.
Yes. I was like, that's another homage to Once Upon a Time.
Oh, shade, but yes.
I agree.
Yes. But he was there.
But
Sort
he was
of.
sort
funny.
of
Sort of
there.
there.
Sort of there.
In spirit.
In spirit.
Yep.
It was worth it for the joke. It was like,
Oh my god, so worth it.
It was so worth it.
Tell my
It
wife.
was so worth it.
For the people that wanted him back, he came back.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's go into predictions. Any predictions?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
This is really alien-tastic.
Wow.
This
I
is
mean-
new.
This is not done yet. Okay.
That's what happened. That's what happened right before the castle, went.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That.
I'm going with your
Beamed it
theory
up.
on that.
Exactly. Right.
Do we think we'll see Destiny again? I think that's a very important question.
I'm really invested in Destiny.
Oh my god.
It would not surprise me if they brought Destiny back.
That was so good.
Oh, Destiny. We need to know so much about Destiny.
Thanks for reminding
they
me about
can't
him.
get rid of the Enchanted Forest. It's
no.
the new
Funny.
favorite town.
It's gonna
watering
come
hole.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
love it.
literally fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Maybe
to
the
get
unicorn
Gareth
will
in
show
there.
up there.
Yes. Richard, when he is the one true king, comes in. This is my prediction now.
Okay.
Richard will come in once he is discovered to be the one true king, riding the unicorn into the Enchanted Forest.
And they will think he's like the gay savior.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and his uncle, who is it? Uncle Keith? Be like, oh, you do belong here. You're right.
do
You do. I was right
That
when you
was
said
hilarious.
marvelous. Yeah.
He'll finally be lifted up.
Yes.
Payoff.
Yes. The ultimate payoff of this show.
Right. That's all we need. We just need to be accepted at the gay bar. That's as much payoff as anyone needs, right?
It's true. It's so true. Any other predictions?
I have an oddball prediction.
Okay.
I think that our evil Madalena is going to turn good at some point this season.
Oh, I like
I
that.
do. I think she's going to have a change of heart. Something catastrophic might have to happen to her for that to happen, but I'm just going to throw that out there in case.
I like that. She'll stop eating other people's chickens to make them cry.
I mean,
That was an interesting
has a
form
lot of issues.
punishment.
Have a baby, and that'll soften her up or something,
yeah.
But whose
Yeah.
baby is it?
exactly.
That would
Ooh,
be
I like
the real
that.
mystery.
Clearly not King Richard.
She likes the handyman.
It could be of any of 480
Anyone that walked by in the
men.
last, yeah.
Anyone who was present for that song.
I mean, no judgment. Sex positive.
No
but-
judgment.
Yep. You do you.
Queen, she does what she wants.
Yep, exactly.
Any other predictions?
I think Richard and Galavant will just continue to bloom into the most beautiful bromance I've ever
Yes.
seen on television.
I want a song about a bromance.
Oh.
Let's make that happen, Galavant.
Please, yes.
Let's make it happen.
Shipping Rich Avant.
Rich Van.
Rich Vance.
Love it. Hashtag that.
Hashtag Rich Van. Make it happen.
I also think that somehow Magdalena and Gareth will become like the most successful working couple
Yeah.
in the show, at least for a little while. They'll,
Even though
they'll work through the initial issues.
he makes, even though he makes Richard look like an ass. Astronomical leader. That was funny too. I had like a teenager laugh at that because I was like, but that's what this show does.
I think
totally.
It was kind of like it's happening for the first 3 ones, and then they get to number 12. And you're
Yeah.
like, this is funny.
Really happening.
I'm laughing out loud.
Oh man. So news and gossip.
Ooh.
Yes.
AfterBuzz
I had to wait
TV
for
News.
that. So I read an article that said that the cast actually sings along live with the taping. It's not pre-recorded, which is what they did for Les Mis. It's interesting to see because there's a lot of I was thinking about that as I was rewatching these episodes, and it to me looked like Kylie wasn't actually
I love
singing.
Kylie to death, but she was not singing all those notes. She's
Because
fabulous, and she can sing live, but not like that.
Right.
Not
And then
EQ'd and auto-tuned and no.
Right. And then you're watching other actors, and what I always do, and this is so crazy, but I watch to see how much their neck's strained.
Yeah.
And so I was watching the Karen David, who plays Isabella. I was watching her, and I'm like, okay, her neck's moving and it's straining. So she's actually, it looked like she was live singing, and then it looked like Kylie wasn't. So I'm like, I don't know.
And it sounded like Karen was really singing live.
Right.
Like it was flawed in a really beautiful way, like when you're seeing a musical. You know,
Very organic.
Yes.
Right.
And
Yes.
we know she's a great singer. I mean, she's
Right.
had like hits in the UK. Like,
Yes.
pop hits.
Yeah. And of course, like, she comes from a theater background,
Right.
as does Sid.
Yeah.
Luke Youngblood. So it's interesting to see where because Kylie is Kylie, they just let her do whatever you know she wanted to be flawless.
Well, and they were requiring of her a disco track with crazy high vocals, and also being carried around like this
a lot
pop
of
diva
movement.
performance.
Really
you know,
intense dance moves.
yeah. So it's like, no, I don't think anyone expects her to hit all of those notes every take.
Exactly, but I just so I'm sort of curious to see like if that's actually true or not. And then I have kind of a short laundry list of guest cast members. Nick Frost, who was on Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead. Robert Lindsay. Sheridan Smith, who comes from a London musical background.
I love her so
Yeah,
much.
she played Elwood.
Yes, and Legally Blonde.
And Legally Blonde.
Yes, and was fabulous.
And then Claire Foster, who also has stage music credits. I like when they bring in. I know they do a lot of stunt casting, and that's why we love Galavant. They had. It's not John Hamm. It's Uncle Jesse.
Stamos.
Stamos.
John Hammond's Uncle Jesse. That's awesome.
They had him on, and then they have Hugh
Ricky Gervais.
Bonneville, Hugh Bonneville from Downton Abbey.
Yep.
But Hugh's not really a singer, kind of, not really. So when they bring in these like people like Kylie, who are actual, and people also from theater backgrounds who actually have all these singing chops, it's really exciting, and I'm anticipating it. I'm just waiting on bated breath.
Yes.
Any last thoughts before we go?
No, I think what they're doing, I think is smart, because I really feel like when I'm watching this, it feels like you're watching a Broadway musical.
It does.
Right?
It does.
I just feel like I'm sitting at the Pantages. Like, I love it. I'm all about it, so I think that's really smart.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that, I wish, I know maybe musicals aren't attractive to some wider audiences unless they know them. I feel like that's what happens with musicals. It's like once everybody says, oh, I like Wicked, then everybody's like, now I like
Right,
Wicked.
exactly.
And it's like people get so shy of hearing things that they haven't heard before, or
Right.
hearing musicals that they haven't heard before. And I just wish they would give Galavant a chance. So if you want to tweet #Galavant, give it a chance. It's a great show. Yes. So let's go down the line. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen. It is my name.
And you can find me at Blake McIver.
You can find me on Twitter at Susannah_Kim and on Instagram at Susannah Kim.
My Twitter and Instagram are on my website, 123jackieb.com. Where is my blog? Where my blog is. Where you can also read other recaps of other shows that I do.
Just getting a little Yoda there.
Yeah.
My blog,
Where is it?
I had to do one. Shut
It was
up.
beautiful.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.